Welcome back to another Short Legacy League where we have Goblins versus Beanstalk Control again. A huge thank you to the Patreon supporters who are helping the league and YouTube channel. If you would like to become a supporter, please click on the link in the show notes. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. One, both players have kept 6, and Cory will be on the play, as we can see here. He's got some stickers down at the bottom, so you know what was selected at random for him at the beginning of the game. Let me know if you like the way those are done, if they're legible to you, and if not, I can work on getting them to work a little bit better down at the bottom. Try not to go too crazy with shit on the screen, but sometimes it's not enough. But for all of you Goblin aficionados out there, hold on to your Gobbos. This is a great matchup, and I think we're going to enjoy this particular video. For everyone who has not seen this Goblins deck and has been living under a rock for the past couple weeks, this deck is for fucking real, and the Goblins community is been working hard on this, as well as I imagine we'll probably see some results coming through on the or from the Showcase Challenge and so forth like that. It is running 4 Prospectors, 4 Battlecry Goblins, 4 Broadside Bombardiers, which made a splash out of Ixalan. We've got 2 Chieftains, 3 Matrons, 3 Rabble Masters, a Magus main deck, oh, the hate. 3 Seeming Spirit Guides, 4 Sticker Gobbos, 4 Goblin Ringleaders, and the Muxus. Muxi. What is it? I guess it would be Muxi if it were plural, so 4 Muxi. Yeah, anyway. And then 2 Shatter Skull Smashings for some removal and some extra mana. 4 Chrome Moxes, and then 4 Tombs, 4 Caverns, 3 Cities, and basic Mountains the rest of the way, kind of thing. Something that I left, well, actually that was given to me by Cory before this match, is this Sticky Goodness write up about maximizing your vowels as well as your bang for your buck for your 2 tickets. I'll link this particular, I guess, whatever the fuck that thing is, poster or whatever, and I'll link that in the notes, so you guys can, and girls and whoever else is watching this, if anyone actually watches this, can actually check that out and actually read it where it's legible, kind of thing. It's a pretty neat write-up. So, got a Triumph of St. Catherine off of a Miracle here, and that is bad news for the Goblins deck. It can do quite a bit of damage rather quickly, but with a 5/5 lifelinker out, that just keeps showing back up. That can be pretty difficult for the Goblins deck to overcome, especially with the current board state we're at right now. And it looks like Chris may have just picked up a Force of Will as well to take care of like a Sticker Goblin or something along those lines. He is showing him the 3 that he got off of the Ringleader, which was 2 Muxi and another Ringleader. So Cory has a pretty stout hand here to work with. He just is a little bit limited on mana because that Bowmaster tried to take out that Scarp Prospector a few turns ago. Cory's sacrificing it so he doesn't get the Orc army off of it. So it's heads up play by Cory on that. So I've chosen not to edit this particular video down to when Cory's thinking, because he is having to put a lot of thought into how to beating this Beans deck, and I wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to see what was in his hand, and potentially I might be able to derive what he's thinking at some point through this match. I think it's a little interesting that Chris chooses not to attack here, I think. Especially with him playing a Murktide that is rather large and able to be on blocking duty for this turn. It would have put Chris up 5 life, and the Murktide would have been able to do some damage. I guess if there's a Broadside Bombardier in Cory's hand right now attacking in, he could boast that, kill the Murktide, or even the Triumph of St. Catherine, but potentially the Murktide, and it goes unimpeded by everything else that's on the battlefield, because the Murktide wouldn't even have time to block with that attack. The Ringleader being thrown at it would do 6 damage to the Murktide, and then he'd only have the Bowmaster back to on blocking duty. So I guess I could see Chris's thought process on not attacking there, because gaining 5 life is the same as gaining 5 life if he blocks with it as well. So probably the right way. Matron into Sticker Goblin for Cory. We'll see a Beans on Chris's turn here. And Cory just points out it's a shame that he didn't have that Beans out when that Murktide came. And we'll see a swing over for 6. Cory is on a 3-turn clock at this point, so he's going to have to figure something out fast. Back over to Cory. That Ancient Tomb is becoming a problem at this point. Got a Sticker Goblin in hand. He is a little strained on mana, which I think has been part of the reason why he has such a strong hand, but not anything out on the board here. Just a lot of CMC in his hand with not a lot of mana to play with here. And that Ancient Tomb has dealt a good bit of damage to him this turn. He does have a Chrome Mox in hand, and a Sticker Goblin, so he could Chrome Mox, Sticker Goblin, and hope to land a Muxus here. But I believe, again, Chris may have a Force of Will up for that. I'm not sure if he has one left. I know he Force of Willed that Magus of the Moon, which would have been lights out for him this game, just because the deck runs, I believe, only one basic island and one basic plains, and he's sitting on all dual lands at the moment. I did get the opportunity to play this Beanstalk control deck at FNM the previous Friday, and I'm not a blue player kind of thing, but I totally get why people play this deck. It's really fun because you get to draw a lot of cards, and you get to control the battlefield pretty well as on top of everything else, because you have 4 Beanstalks and 4 Plowshares and 4 Force of Wills. It's just so, all right, there's the Bombardier. So Cory did have the Bombardier, so I guess I was reading that that particular play pattern. So he could attack with the Bombardier now, throw the, oh wait, we have some movement here. Some lands are tapped, and we have a Dress Down. Okay, well, that Bombardier no longer has haste and cannot boast. Chris gets to draw another card here, and puts Cory in a little bit tighter position. See if he's able to make something work here. He's got the Murktide, 4/6 in the air. He just needs to keep coming over across on the top, and then just hold him off for a turn. He does have a Plowshare in his hand, which does work pretty well. Yeah, that'll stop that Sticker Goblin from coming into play. If Cory found 1 mana, so we got the Sticker Goblin, and he does have the 1 mana. He drew a Cavern of Souls too. But we'll see the Swords of Plowshare with the trigger on the stack, stopping that Sticker Goblin from producing any mana. And Cory's going to pack it up. We'll see you in game number 2. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Welcome back to game number 2. Both players have kept 7. Cory will be on the play. Stickers down in the bottom left for you, so you can check them out. Now that we've seen both decks, we can talk about the sideboard a little bit. Cory has a Goblin Trashmaster, 2 Furies, and 2 Meltdowns, 3 Chalice of the Voids, Unlicensed Hearse, double Blood Moon, 4 Land on the Voids. I think the only thing that's going to make a difference in this match for Cory is probably going to be those Blood Moons with this large mana base that is mostly non-basic. A Blood Moon resolved would be lights out for the Beanstalk control deck unless he fetches early basics. And he does have a beautiful Ponder coming out, able to stack a Miracle Triumph of St. Catherine into his turn 2. Not very often you get to do that, but that is fantastic for Chris here. We'll see if Cory is able to launch an offensive here to really get things moving for him. And Ancient Tomb, and we have another Battlecry Goblin. Let's see if Chris is going to allow that to stick around. And he is not. Force of Will pitching a Brainstorm. So going to rely on, oh wow, Cory had another one and was able to use so he was able to bait out the Force of Will there, and then play a second Battlecry Goblin that can't be countered. Heads up move by Cory there. So now we've got a Triumph of St. Catherine on the board, and Cory will have to work through that next. And we've got a basic, well, not a basic. We have a Tundra on the battlefield. He does have access to all 5 mana now, I believe, with the green, the white, black, blue, and red. So Chris is live with Beanstalks, or not live with Beanstalks, but live with Leyline Bindings and a 5/5 blocker. Chris just adjusting the life totals there for Cory. Another Force of Will on this Sticker Goblin, and he could have used that mana plus the Cavern of Souls mana to cast his next creature, so it would have been uncountable. Chris didn't really want to have to deal with that. Looks like Top8 Catherine can attack over for 5 safely, putting him back up to 20. Cory down to 11. We haven't had a chance to talk about that sideboard for Chris yet. He's got Leovold, Oppo Agent, Plague Engineer, Fluster, 2 Hydros, 2 Surgicals, Spell Bombs, Pernicious Deeds, and 2 Carpet of Flowers. I think realistically what he wants to bring in this matchup is a Plague Engineer, 2 Hydroblasts, and probably the Pernicious Deeds. The CMC on these goblins are typically 4 or less, except for Muxus, and he could be able to keep his larger creatures out while also blowing up the entire board on Cory's side. So we'll see a pump activation on the Battlecry Goblins, and that will give them both +1/+1, and that'll be 6 power coming across, so 2 goblins will be made as well. And he has mana available to pump again. So right now there's 6 plus 2 more is 8, and if he pumps again, that would be a total of 12. He chooses not to pump, and he just slams the Blood Moon. Now, interesting here, because Chris only has 4 mana available, even floating the white for the Leyline Binding that's in his hand, because Blood Moon has to resolve first, those other lands are mountains, and that's only a reduction of 2 CMC on a 6 CMC card. So he is 1 mana short from being able to Leyline Binding that, and that is real tough. Finds a Beanstalk off the top, and it's like, oh, and he had a Volcanic Island, so he had another land too. It's not like he missed land drops, it's just he didn't have that 1 extra land there. He's only fetched once. He couldn't have got the planes off the fetch land anyway, so no harm there. But Cory's at 4, Chris is at 17, and there's a Blood Moon out. Let's see if Cory has enough to get this game over with in 1 swing, which this Goblins deck is known to do. So if we're going to pump once... Alright, so it looks like we're pumping once, so you've got a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 coming across. No, I'm sorry. 3, 4, 5 coming across right now. No, that's 7. This is really fucking confusing. So he has 7 coming across right now, plus 1 is 8. And then he's leaving 1 Battlecry Goblin back to block. So there's 8 damage out right now, and then he can pump again, and that will give him a total of 12 damage coming out. So he's got 12 damage total. So yeah, so 5, 8, 11, 12, 13 damage. Okay. Yeah, Goblin math is hard. Chris not very happy about what he just had come off the top of his library here, and he is safe. Cory is safe to block. We'll pack that up and see you in game number 3. This is just a little interlude that came from the beginning of the video. This is Cory holding the scrap paper that I made the top 8 pairings with, and I gave it to him at the end, showing that he was the winner. Back to game number 3. Cory has kept 6, and Chris has kept 7. Chris will be on the play, having just lost to a Blood Moon, essentially, in that game number 2. Scrap Prospector comes out, and on Cory's turn 1, we'll probably see a fetch coming. So let's talk about that Blood Moon for a minute and how impactful it truly is against these greedy mana-based decks. I can tell you from a lands player perspective, these Beanstalk decks feel like they have like unlimited mana in terms of like trying to wasteland them off, because they're playing all the fetch lands. They have a lot of card draw. They have the Lure and Revealed as well. So like you go to wasteland them and they Lure and Revealed, and it's basically like they almost crop rotated you there because they're just picking up another land, right off the gate. So Force of Will pitching a Force of Negation, triggering a Beanstalk, and stopping that Rabble Master from doing a lot of damage to Cory, or to Chris early, coming from Cory's side. Another bean coming. This is what I'm talking about. Like all these bean decks, they keep just replacing. The Beanstalk replaces itself essentially. It's like a Mishra's Bauble with a lot of upside for non-artifact decks. So we'll see a Shatter Skull Smashing coming down. He's going to bolt himself for 3 and then take 2 more off of the Ancient Tomb. And we have a second Force of Will that's going to trigger Beans twice. Oh, so much value from these Beans decks, man. They just draw and draw and draw. He's not drawing into anything really worthwhile, unfortunately. He's loaded up on lands. Looks like he has a Lure and Revealed and Swords of Plowshare in his hand. There's a triple bean on the battlefield now, picking up another land. Yeah, so he's got a Lure and Revealed, double Plowshares, and 2 lands, it looks like, in his hand, with triple beans out. So that Lure and Revealed is a double Ancestral Recall if he gets it off. And it looks like he may have a Brainstorm in his hand and not a Lure and Revealed. So that's not quite. I mean, saying Brainstorm is not quite as good is kind of crazy to say. But yeah, it's no Lure and Revealed on 5 mana, but he doesn't have 5 yet. But that Brainstorm could definitely shuffle these lands away that he doesn't need at the moment. So, of course, got a Simian Spirit Guide in his hand. It looks like a Ringleader as well. And there's the Ringleader, taking 2 damage off that Ancient Tomb. Simian, Chrome, Battlecry, and a City of Traders. So only 1 off that Ringleader. That is a breath of fresh air, I believe, for Chris. Cory not getting completely loaded up with that. Over to Chris's side, picks up another Plains, and we'll probably see him Brainstorm because he's got. All right, there's a Plague Engineer, Ponder, and another Beanstalk. So putting the Ponders back. Or putting the 2 lands back, and then probably playing a fetch land to fetch those away. And he got a Tundra. And he could have got a basic Plains. Cory does have a Blood Moon in his hand, I believe. He does have he has a Magus in his hand. Okay. There's a Magus. Chris is tapped out. I don't think Chris has a Force of Will either. So I think Cory's going to test the waters with this Battlecry Goblin. See if he lets that resolve. He does. Simian Spirit Guide. Magus. 2 Swords of Plowshare in hand. And he fetched the Tundra instead of the basic. That is real tough to stare down. There's not much I think Chris can do here. Let me see if he plays a basic island. So he would need the basic island and a Hydroblast, or a basic Plains and and his Swords of Plowshare that he has in his hand. So he is on a very short clock here to try and wiggle out of this. Another fetch land, okay, another mountain. So Cory does have time. Can't take too much time, but he can assemble an army. So looks like Ringleader number 2 is coming out. No Force of Will. All right, and a complete whiff on the Ringleader. Wow, that's, and again for Chris, breath of fresh air here. Cory's not doing much to capitalize on this Magus completely shutting off his deck. And every turn is just a little bit more. We've got a Sticker Goblin coming out now. That should give him, I believe he gets 6 mana off of this thing. And a Rabble Master, which will leave him with 3 mana, which is a double pump from the. All right, that's a double pump. So a single pump first, I think. Well, he has a double pump because if he goes to combat, he loses his mana. So I tried to do this combat math ahead of time. With a double pump, so double pumps, it's 15 total coming across. And then you get the trigger from the Rabble Master, which is another 5 coming across, because that Rabble Master is an 8/1 at the moment. Making this 20 total damage coming across, and Chris says, yeah, here's what I have in my hand. Thanks. We'll see you guys next time. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.